Hello everybody, I have another video for you today, another deck. This time we're going to be doing a little bit of monsters. My probably favourite faction, not necessarily in this patch, but across all of Gwent, really a big fan of the monster faction. As you may not know, actually, kind of a secret thing. Anyhow, yeah, let's jump into the cards and the strategy of the deck. This is going to be like a sort of Deathwish focused deck, and I'm not using Eredin, but instead Elder, which may or may not be better or worse depending on the version that you want to run, but I'm going for the approach of consistent value with the Deathwish units across all of the 3 rounds rather than one really powerful round with Eredin and maybe a Gales or a card like that. But it's kind of a preference as to which you go for. Both have their weaknesses and their strengths, I think. I'm not sure which is objectively better if either of them are. So here's the leader, really solid. Going to be using that with your Deathwish Bronzes and Imperial Manticore as well. Um, then running down the rest of the cards, we have like a lot of big beefy dudes. That's kind of the theme here. We have Spear Tip, which is just a straight 13 for 15 provisions. Goliath, 10 for 10, with a bad negative Deathwish effect. But interestingly enough, he does get boosted by Fiends because he has a Deathwish tag, so that's kind of neat. Old Spear Tip is 9 for 10, another beefy boy. Frenzied Doubt, 7 for 8, kind of pretty beefy for its provisions and good against artifacts. You kind of have to put this in most decks, I think. Along with the Witches, which we also are running, of course. And then we're actually running all the Crones, which are pretty damn powerful. They're kind of worth 7 for 8 provisions at base, but every time you play another one, their value increases by about 2 points, maybe a bit more in some cases. So they can get to be worth, 11, 12, maybe even 13 value late in the game if you play all of them. Really, really nice cards. They give you a lot of flexibility. You're able to control a bit with the damage. You're able to boost your own guys, not really relevant, but you're also able to, consume your Deathwish units, which can be really helpful to proc those effects if you can't do that with other, methods. So really nice crones. We then have Ghoul, and this is synergizing really heavily with the big beefy boys we have. A lot of the time we're going to be wanting to play round one out, hopefully win it, and then bleed round two a little bit with our big boys, play them out, make him catch up in points, make the opponent really use some resources to tempo, keep up in tempo with our 13 and our Witchers and our Goliath maybe. And then round three, we keep pushing the power and the points with the ghouls, and maybe some more finisher cards like Manticore or Crones or whatever. So that's kind of the principle there with the ghoul. We then have Manticore, which is pretty neat. Sometimes if the opponent doesn't play around it, you can get really insanely high value from it. Otherwise, it's just an okay Deathwish card. Works pretty well with the Bois, which can consume it and get another proc of its Deathwish effect after you maybe use it with use Elder to get that Deathwish effect. And then bronzes we have Rot Fiends, which are just like nice value for a Deathwish unit. Pretty good, dealing 4 damage, a little bit of removal sometimes. Harpy Egg, also really solid. Going to be 8 points if you manage to proc its effect. If you do it multiple times, it can be even better. Merrilorn, synergizing with that stuff, allowing you to use these Deathwish abilities. Fiend is going to be buffing all our boys. Pretty good carryover play. And worth it in points for provisions. Most of the time you need to hit about 2 Deathwish units for this to be good, and most of the time you're hitting like 3, maybe even 4 if you're fortunate enough to have a hand like that. Arcspore and Necker are then there just as very good value. Arcspore is Deathwish, Necker is not, but both really good value Thrive units. If they're not removed immediately or soon after being played, they really can ramp up in value, and yeah, just good throwaway 4-drops, which can really provide a lot of points for the provisions that they cost. So that's the deck, yeah. General game plan is going to be to win round 1 if you can, and then bleed round 2 a bit with your big boys, and finish it with big boys again in round 3. But we'll jump into a game. It's going to struggle a little bit against artifact decks if you do run into those, since we're not running too much removal for artifacts, and yeah, we don't really have that much long round potential of our own, since we're more focused on short rounds with ghouls and whatnot. So yeah, let's jump into a game and see how it plays. Alright, looks like we've got a Woodland Spirit. This might mean he's playing an artifact deck potentially. That'll be a good chance to perhaps show how you can beat these sort of no unit decks, if he is in fact running that. With the mulligan, we typically don't really want to mulligan anything. However, since we're against this guy and I want to be able to push round 1, I'm actually going to mulligan a ghoul, just so we have another play available in round 1. And then we probably are forced to keep the rest of this hand, despite not having the best cards ever. You know, Fiends aren't going to be too valuable. There'll be 6 points here, which is okay. We can get them out of the hand if we need to. Neckers as well are going to be alright if they don't get removed by his artifacts and spears and whatnot, if he is running those things. But we can definitely start with Neckers here, and hopefully they will survive. They can become, you know, 6-point cards, 8-point cards, really, really strong if, or card singular, if the opponent allows them to grow. So, really nice threat. But there is Sahil, and we don't have artifact removal, unfortunately. So, this is likely going to be a bit of a rip game. But we'll see. We can go Fiend, and then we probably actually want to tactical advantage this, just so that he can't get the immediate Sahil proc. Yeah, it feels weird buffing the Necker that will grow anyway, but that is just the way it is. We'll see what we do next. Maybe just another Fiend, get those boosts going. There's a Spear, and he's just going to pew-pew our guys. You know the drill, guys. You've played against artifact decks before, I'm sure. Really unfortunate we can't deal with Sahil here. That would kind of be good. I'm wondering if we can play a card that will kind of make his life a bit awkward, difficult to destroy maybe with the Sahil. There's kind of not really anything appealing here. Maybe Goliath. I guess we could play it. Probably just Fiend is the way. Oh, bit of lag there. Weird. We'll just play Fiend, whatever. He can have the Sahil value. I don't think we can really beat this in a long round anyway, so we'll let him do his nonsense. Maybe play Rot Fiend and then pass. Or Manticore and then pass, obviously playing Elder as well. As if we even have any units to play, which it looks like we don't right now. We could also play Crone just to get a consume going. Kind of feeling like probably a Rot Fiend is not really going to achieve much in this matchup anyway if he's not playing any units, so we shall do that. Artifacts are really annoying to deal with. I hope they just change this stuff soon, because it's pretty obnoxious if you're not playing a deck that can handle it. Which not many decks can. I think you have to be playing like your own artifact deck or something like that. This is good for us though. We are able to get some value here on the Rot Fiend that we wouldn't otherwise get. So we can probably go Elder, just pop that, kill the werewolf with the ability there. And probably we want to play I guess Goliath here. Doesn't feel particularly great, but we'll do it. Maybe it would be difficult for him to kill. Probably not. We'll just go Epidemic and some nonsense. And then I guess that will put us in a bit of a tricky spot, because we might not be able to, you know, get ahead if he gets a unit on the board after killing Goliath. But whatever. Not sure there's much we can do here, to be honest. Just kind of the way of the artifacts and playing against those. But we'll see. Maybe we have a chance here. If he doesn't overcome and we can take a pass, maybe we have enough points to survive a long round against this kind of a deck. We'll have to see about that. It's really annoying not being able to get our Merilorn synergy here. Yeah, it looks like he's going to go with Epidemic or whatever. Maybe not. Alright, in that case I think we'll happily take a pass here. We really can't be beating the Sahil for much longer. I think if we play on anymore, we'll just lose on even cards, which would be, you know, not very good for us. And we'll probably struggle a little bit in a long round, but if we do find our Artifact Destruction card, which we do have in deck, then we can deal with the Caretaker Sahil if he has that. That's kind of the scariest card he could have, if we don't draw the Artifact Removal. Apart from that, you might have Epidemics and Scorches and stuff, but they're not quite as scary as they would be against Ithne, to be quite honest. But we'll see what we get here. Would love to see that stuff. Looks like we don't get any of the Artifact Destruction. Never lucky, Rubber Ducky. That's the issue with the Artifact Destruction as well. Like, if you just don't draw it, you might have it in your deck, but it doesn't help you out if you don't get it, unfortunately. So, probably, we could go with a Merilorn here. They might be a little bit tricky to get value from in round 3. It's probably an okay shout, just because he might be removing my Harpy Eggs and whatnot, right? Rotfiend might not even get value as well. We'll have to wait and see, I guess. We've got Witches in the deck, so we'll probably draw into them here. some form or another. There they are, the witches. We have double harpies, so I'm more inclined to get rid of Rot Fiend. I don't think we need it. Um, oh, and we do draw Frenzied Dow. That's perfect. We really needed to get that in case of yeah, I mean he's definitely going to be playing more artifacts, maybe even Caretaker. So we should probably just open with a Harpy Egg here, I suppose. Not really an issue. If he wants to kill it, you know, that's his prerogative to do so. We can go ahead and you know, get some nice value going if he doesn't. So here we're probably just going to whack out the Harpy. I think it's probably worth it. It's 5 points. Imperial Manticore might get that much value, but whatever. I'm not too bothered. I think we just go with our own Arc Sport. The Harpy wouldn't have you know, triggered that anyway, so we're not losing points there. As you just see, we don't get the points. It's only when you play a unit that Thrive activates, not getting it from some other effect. This is actually looking okay for us, probably. Yeah, we can go with another Harpy Egg, and maybe Merylorn can help us out with that one. And yeah, you know the drill, guys. You know how it goes. A little bit of a shield, okay, very fun, very interesting. We'll go with Harpy Egg. And whether or not, you know, he removes the egg, we'll decide whether or not we allow Bois to consume 2 things or just 1 thing, and whether we damage with Wisp-S or not, yeah. Okay, Epidemic comes out. That's pretty annoying to see, to be quite honest, but whatever. Gotta do what we gotta do. So, Crone, we probably only want to eat 1 thing. Merylorn's gonna be kind of tricky to find value from, and we're like in a little bit of a tricky spot. He has already played an Epidemic, just the 1 or maybe 2. No, he's only played 1. So we could be against Epidemic now, we could be against Scorch. We don't really know which of those he'll play. He might have both, he might have neither. I think probably Imperial Manticore's the play, just to play around Scorch. I think it's more likely he'll have that than another Epidemic, but could have Epidemic. It's also possible. It's kind of hard for us to play around Epidemic and Scorch at the same time. In fact, the only way to do that would be to play Bois, but would really not be good because we missed the consume on the Manticore. We're probably going to lose some points, you know, here and there. Oh, he does have Epidemic. That's pretty mean. Not cool at all, my dude. But whatever, we can play our bad cards now. There's still 10 points up right now, which is okay, with the Frenzied Dow, which will trade up on hopefully one of his artifacts. Whether or not he has Sahil is another question, but we may as well not get rid of the shield for now, because it's not really achieving anything without units on the board for him. We're not looking too bad. Witches are going to be a big 12-point swing. Spear Tip will be a big 13. He does have, you know, that woodland looking pretty spooky, of course. So that's a bit worrying. But okay, he's going to damage my Manticore. I'm not sure why, but sure. So, question is, what are we going with now? Probably the Witches. Either that or Spear Tip. I think Witches here are better. Because the Scorch will be slightly smaller on them than on the Spear Tip. And we'll have to see what the opponents got left. We're probably not really going to get any Boris value. That's just life at this point. And the Witches plus Woodland are like a really big swing, 20 points. So right now we're actually pretty far behind. And there's a Scorch. Yeah, he has all of the damage AoE effects. So lucky him. Can be pretty happy if you're that guy. We, on the other hand, are not too happy. He's drawn all the stuff he needed to, it seems like. But we'll find out, I guess, whether he does have the points or not. Spear Tip's good. Yeah, maybe if his last couple of cards aren't great. This is only a 3-point card, not too bad for us. We can deal with that, in fact. I think we probably go Frenzied Dow at this point, just because it's not really going to improve, you know, substantially. Wyvern Scale Shield is only worth 3 maximum. It's probably not worth that much here. And he won't really... most likely won't have a Thunderbolt or anything. Maybe. Maybe he's holding on to that, but I don't think it's super likely. Wolfpack's pretty bad. And we can, in fact, get the Crone value here, which I think we're happy to take. On the Manticore, just to kill that Wolf. And then we have Wisp-S for a nice 4 damage. We could have done that the other way around. Wouldn't really have made too much of a difference. And it looks like He has a fair amount of points as a finisher. Can't really get any more value there. So 20 points plus 6 plus 1 shouldn't be enough. Unless he has Roach popping out, but of course he's going to have played a gold unit already. So we do in fact win. And, you know, that just kind of shows why this version is a little bit worse than the Ithne artifact decks going around, but we can still win even if, yeah, they don't play any units. Just got to mulligan away the interactive cards that you have and play just vanilla points for this deck. Also, if you're able to push round 1 against artifacts, you really should do that. We didn't have the hand, you know, that was good enough. We couldn't beat the Sahil in round 1, but if you can do that, then you can bleed them round 2 and have a much better shot. Anyhow, yeah, I hope that shows off the deck a little bit, and yeah, it's a fun one. I've been enjoying the synergy with Deathwish. It's a little bit tilting playing against artifacts all the time, but you know, if you're not feeling that game style of gameplay, then give this deck a go. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. So I will see you guys in the next video, and yeah, have a good one.